Cry, Macho. It's quite the oxymoron, is it not? Hello, I'm Anderson Cowan. I'll be talking about Cry Macho here today. I also talk about many movies weekly on the Film Vault, as well as CinemAddicts. You can find those links down below right there. Much longer discussions with other people, not just myself. If you like this, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. Today I'm going to be talking about Clint Eastwood's latest movie, Cry Macho. Every time you see a Clint Eastwood movie, you wonder if it's going to be the last Clint Eastwood movie you see, which is not being mean necessarily. It's just, that's the law of nature. I grew up loving Clint Eastwood, as many of us did, and I still really appreciate and like Mr. Clint Eastwood quite a bit. However, my feelings on him have become a bit more ambivalent over just the last few years as I've reflected on the way that he's maybe treated some of the animals while he's working with the animals, especially back to his cowboy days. In fact, just this week, I had to watch The Outlaw Josie Wales. Never seen it before. I know, shame on me, but I watched it. I enjoyed that movie. Did not enjoy watching horses get nearly drowned and reading the stories about how perhaps he may or may not have punched one of the horses right in the jaw for misbehaving. So this movie, Cry Macho, is another side of Clint, and actually, ironically, it might, I don't know if it's ironic, but it might kind of change some of my feelings, or at least that might be the intention on the way that he is with animals, because he likes his animals in this movie, even though early on he threatens to kill the chicken, which might have been the best part of the whole movie. The rooster might have been the best part of Cry Macho. So this is the second week in a row, coincidentally, that I'll be doing an old man movie review. Not that I'm the old man reviewing, even though that is nearly the case. But last week was Paul Schrader and The Card Counter. I said it was an old-timey type of movie, old manny type of movie. This one, same thing. Clint Eastwood, old guy. He's actually one of the only holdovers, or actually maybe the last living link to yesteryear as far as movies go. I mean, the guy's been working since the early 50s, and of course we all know many of his movies that he starred in, mainly the spaghetti westerns when he was younger, and then of course Dirty Harry. I'm not going through his whole list, but then he became a director, and it's like, oh, this is this whole other side of Clint. And you don't have to look that far into Clint and his background to realize that he's kind of been trying to apologize for the macho nature of westerns and cowboys and the bravado and his old characters that made him famous and built his legacy. I mean, way back in '93 with Unforgiven, which is a hugely successful movie, that was a whole new take on the western, on the macho guy, on the lead. So he's doing it here again, yet he's in a very fragile state this time around. And Cry Macho is a story of he's got a boss, or he was his boss, in Dwight Yoakam, who's a total jerk. And this opening scene of Cry Macho, many people will just say, that's enough for me, and they'll shut it down, because the exposition is horrific. I mean, it makes old seem like it's bobbing and weaving and keeping the audience guessing as far as what's going on. The exposition is so on the money with this in a bad way. Dwight Yoakam just lays it out there right in the open, lets the audience know exactly what his relationship has been with this Clint Eastwood character, Mike, for the last 20 years. And everything, all the ups and the downs, and he's like, yeah, and then that was all before the booze, and that's before you started losing. Like, he just laid it out. It was so GD, lazy. Clint Eastwood directed this one. He didn't write it. This is an original screenplay. It's written by two guys. I'm not going to name the names because I'm not saying nice things right now. And then I guess a year, we learned that Clint Eastwood he was a cowboy and he broke his back. And then a year after, Dwight Yoakam's a total dick to him. He's like Curb Your Enthusiasm level dickishness to him. It's like, it doesn't really add up. There's no way anyone would be such a dick with somebody they've had such a relationship with for so long. It seemed like a decent relationship. They work together, and he just lays it all out there. Like, you're washed up, old man. Go on, get. And I mean, it's essentially like that. And then it flash forwards to a year later, and guess what? Dwight needs his help. Dwight needs him to go down to Mexico and get his boy back, because he misses his boy, and his boy's got a crazy mother down there. So then the story begins, and Clint feels like he owes him for some reason. So Clint makes his way across the Mexican border, and we have the scene where these young college-age girls are also crossing the border right in front of them, and the border patrol guy, Mexican fella, couldn't be nicer to these girls, and he's almost creepy nice to them, and asking them where they're going and what they're doing, and unknown, not sure why that was in there. And then it's Clint's turn, and the same border agent's kind of a jerk to Clint, like, all right, what are you doing here? Go on, get. Weird little tidbits like that you get only in Clint Eastwood movies. So he goes down there, and a lot of convenient things occur, including him getting... I mean, there's a scene where a younger, very attractive, powerful woman tries to seduce him for unknown reasons. She could have pretty much any man she wants, any man in her vast mansion, and there's a party going on at the time, and she decides to go upstairs and try and seduce Clint, who she doesn't know at all. So he finds the kid. The kid has a rooster, and look, I'm not going to go through the whole movie. This movie could have been powerful. This does feel like a send-off. This does feel like a bye-bye. Nice to know you, Clint. All these years, you've given us so much and so many different forms of Clint. I hope that's not the case, but what I wished was the case is this movie could have been powerful. It could have been like, my God. Instead, it was just some it felt like stage acting at times. Like I said, crazy, lazy exposition. Most movies done this way would be unwatchable and mostly laughable. And it wasn't, because it's Clint on screen, and he's so familiar, and I allowed it to, go down somewhat smooth. I did not hate this movie, but this is a 3-star movie. If it wasn't for Clint and everything that he means to me, it would be a 2-star movie. And as I started to say earlier about the animals, he's like really nice to the animals, and to the point where he's almost a veterinarian for a small stretch of this movie. And he's treating all sorts of local small animals in the village. There's a crowbarred in scene that I thought was just going to be a quick scene, but it ends up being an entire act of the movie involving Clint's love interest, which you could see coming from a mile away. And it almost goes down like a little Bridges of Madison County side road there for a minute. And maybe that's him paying homage to himself from way back when. And you also can't help but think of A Perfect World when watching this movie. And that was Clint Eastwood doing a similar storyline way back in the early 90s, which I know is a far superior movie to this, but it's not nearly as now or recent. So, missed opportunity. I really wish that it was a powerful, and I could see this movie being a powerful movie and really like moving you and being like, oh my God, and like this might be it for Clint. And like it does, like I said, it does feel like I won't be surprised at all if he's not in another movie. And I might sound like a total fool right now. I should have probably looked this up to make sure that he's not starring in anything. You know what? I'm gonna edit. I try not to edit on this thing. I'm gonna edit. Hold on, okay. Just checked. As of right now, he does not have anything on the horizon. Selfishly, I'm very happy to see that, because I would have looked like a total idiot, an ass, had he. But on the other hand, I realize that that's sad. So I feel like a jerk now. Anyhow, I can't. You know what? Your parents will probably love this movie. You can recommend it to mom and dad, maybe granny too. All right, happy Friday, everybody. Oh no, I'm off next week. I'm not doing one of these. I'm moving. If you can see around, I'm surrounded by boxes on all sides. And also, as Lady Luck would have it, there's not a movie coming out next week that I'm terribly excited to see, except for a documentary called On These Grounds, which we'll probably catch up with in Flick Fest or review on the Film Vault and or CinemAddicts. Thanks for watching. Happy Friday.